right on time. Call to order the regular meeting for the Harrison County Board of Education for Tuesday, August 4th. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for joining this evening. We have Mr. Hogue on the phone. All right, this brings us down to our efficiency study for special recognitions and presentations.
Sure. We have an updated efficiency study that was really provided to all the counties, and Mrs. Kynes wanted to present that to you.
Thank you, Todd, for putting it up on the screen so people can see it. So the efficiency study is actually provided to the counties to gauge where you are as a snapshot, and it does a 5-year comparison. Well, the state has increased the transparency because there's, if you remember, every year when I've talked about the budgeting and the process, I've talked about how it didn't count for extended professional contracts. It didn't count for these other things. They have fixed that in their new format. So the first page of it is a snapshot. It has the unrestricted fund balance. So just look at the way we have gone at the graph there. So June of 22, we were just shy of 20 million. Then June 23, we dropped. And then 24 and 25, we stayed about the same. There's a reason we stayed the same, even though we had an excess number of employees employed. So the excess levy call was that we just finished up on June 30, 2026, was the same call for all 3 of these 5 years, all 5 of these years. The levy call called to raise $28,797,082. Well, when you look at June of 2022, you will see that the projected collections did not meet that. It was short by about $235,000. And then in 23, it was short by $937,000. And then in 24, we got a little bit more of $3.8 million. Now in this levy call, all the extra could be used for personnel. So then in 25, that's when we had a big oil and gas boom there. And so we got an extra $11 million. This is important to remember this. Keep this in your back pocket because all this money could be used to support personnel overages. Then in 2026, we dropped back down, but we still were 4.7 million over what the call was supposed to project. So on the next page, thank you, Todd, we talk about the personnel data. So the very first thing on there is that under the personnel, professional and student support personnel, which is our counselors and nurses and those folks, and they're allowed under the state aid formula. So let's just jump down to June 30, 2026. That was 722.92. And then the state, what we actually had employed though was 855.5, leaving an overage of 132.58 that's not state aid eligible. So then we go down, we get to the number of personnel then there's employed from local funds of 28.54. The new line in there is that second one, which is the extended professional contracts from local funds. So those are the contracts that are over 200 days. They've added all those pieces together. So like a 250 would be 50 days. They put it in a pot. And they add all those up, and then they divide it by 200. And that equates to another 19.37 professionals for the extended contracts. So now we have 180 positions that are funded by the county board. Then we get into the service personnel. So the number of service personnel allowed under state aid funding is 502.482, and then we actually had employed 578. So that gets us to the number in excess of 76. And then we had some personnel employed, service personnel employed with local funds, which were 2. For the total number of service personnel over the state aid formula was 78.146. When you add those two together, it's 258.6 positions. we can fund about 150 from our excess levy. Get you back to that magic number of 108, 109, and I reported in the budget about 106 over. When you look at the little graph there at the bottom, you'll see that the number of professional employees that's in the red graph, what we carried over was just right around 100, or a little less than 122, and then see how it has gone up. Until 26, we're pushing the 200 number. All right, now, there is one major assumption on these personnel numbers. And that assumption is that the certified list as submitted to the state is 100% accurate. If you recall in the discussions we had this spring, I showed you the issues that was with the June 30th, 2023 year. You'll see there we had a negative. We did not have, that was not a true statement. There's real issues with the certified list. So we're gonna go on, keep that over there to your side. And the next page, at the very top, we have the professional personnel over formula. Now this is, from that other page, using the average contracted salary for professionals, which is a large assumption because the ones that are over formula that are extended contracts are actually usually employed and have larger salaries. So this is based on average salary. So this still could be understating the cost of this. So the professional personnel over formula is $13.3 million. You'll see how that grew from June 30th, 22 of $4.4 million to $13.3 million. Multiple factors in that, one being a drop of student enrollment. We lost 1,141 students during that time frame. The salary increases that have been given during that time frame, the increases in PEIA, all of those costs push that average cost up and up and up. The new line on there is the professional personnel that is the local supplement. This is the amount of money that it takes from our excess levy for the local supplement for everyone's salary. So for per teacher, it's professional, it's $4,650 a year. Equates to over $7 million. Then we go into the professional personnel over the 200 days, those extended contracts. And that's going on to another 1.9 million. So all told, the total professional personnel over that we're doing locally funded for June 30th, 2026 is $22 million. We get into the service, we have the same thing, except for the local supplement is now broken out, and that's costing $4 million. So of our excess levy, $11 million is already earmarked for those supplements. The total cost of personnel employed in excess of the number funded by the state aid formula, plus the excess levy supplements, the county supplements, for 26 was $30 million. Now, that levy call earmarked 17.5 million, let's say, for those, leaving a balance of 13 million that we had to come up from somewhere. Now, yes, it is true that we got a little bit of extra money from the levy call in 2026 from that front page of about 4.7, which still would leave us short of about $8.3 million that we're having to come up with our other funding sources. Now, when you look at that, June 30th, 2022, 23, and 2024, the funding shortfall, when you add those three the overage and the shortfall together, virtually is a wash. It's like $20,000 off. The 25 year was $11 million short. But let's remember, it was $11 million short, but we actually got $11 million extra. That's why the June 30, 2025 number, we were able to close the fiscal year 25 without a significant loss in our reserves, reducing our reserves. That is not the case moving forward. When you go down to the bottom, you talk about our enrollment data. Well, our enrollment data, we lost 1,040 in the last 3 years. That equates to a decrease in professionals of 80.39 positions and service of 56 positions, a total of about 136 positions over the last 3 years that we have lost for state aid funding. Any questions?
Any questions?
Yeah, so line 3 is for the contracts that are over 200
Yes, sir.
days, correct?
The professional.
And so we're paying close to 2 million for those.
Yes.
Okay.
And the service, though, you gotta count, they don't base on a 200-day. Service are 100% funded, whether they're, a 250 is 1.25 FTEs. And we have several service personnel over that, they equate to additional full-time equivalents. I think it roughly is about 40.
Thank you. So the state's going to update this format?
This is the format that they'll be using moving forward. And it took them some time to go back because they had to go back for 5 years. And what they're hoping to do is actually go and use the real salaries instead of using an average salary. So there might be one more reiteration of this, or they might wait till 27 and then have all the numbers revamped at that point in time.
And they've done that for every county.
Yes, every county. We had everybody's. They sent a big email, so you had to go in and pull out Harrison counties out of the middle of the pack. And it was a real eye-opener, I think, to a lot of people, because they did not realize what the positions were. Cost Sigma.
So at the bottom of the third page, and I don't know if it just cut off number 2. You can see it from the
Oh,
cost, all I can see is costs 4.
that's all that's printed on it. I'd have to,
Note 1, so there must be a note 2, is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
there's
yeah,
note 2.
note 2.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And that just says cost 4, I can't see it.
has, yeah, cost for it, you're right.
That's all that's actually on the screen. That's all that was on the
And
thing.
cost- Yeah, you can see number 1 up there, cost eliminates. I can't read that part.
And I'm thinking it's gonna relate to the, because the first piece is about
Do you see
the,
note 1?
I see note 1, but note 2
Professional.
is cut off. Okay, so then I guess I'm sure that the board will look forward to recommendations that'll come out to make the adjustments that need to be made.
thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay, next we have no delegations, correct? Superintendent's update.
Sure. Hey, today we had our new employee orientation. Sorry, Doug, I knocked him over. And we had a pretty good turnout. What do we have?
We had 17.
17 employees, so that was Rebecca's first one to organize, and it was, went well. And we had everybody there from central office to speak with each of the new employees, and hopefully they'll start out this year on a positive note. And if they have any questions, I think they got a list of places to call and if they needed any answers or anything. We have streamlined that onboarding. So when the employees are hired, they're getting all their technology and all those things up front and getting their badges. So when they walk out of here, they're ready to start the school year. So I do appreciate all of that work and making that streamline among the departments. Also, school starts next Tuesday for staff, so we hope that you've enjoyed your summer, and we're suggesting that you enjoy this last few days to rest and relax, because of course it's amping up everywhere, so I'm sure you need to take the time to enjoy that. And then, of course, kids return on the 18th, and we're working hard to make sure that we have our buses and our schools ready, and I think we're ahead of schedule in most of our areas. That's all I really have. Jamie, do you have an update on any of the buildings or anything? I mean, they're looking pretty good.
Yes, I do. Simpson Playground, our work there is almost complete. Davis Athletics gonna have to come in and put the rest of the playground equipment up. After that's done, we may have to move in a little bit more of crusher and gravel, and mulch, to level that off. But our part of that is, almost complete. Big Elm Elementary, we poured 60 new yards of concrete in front of Big Elm. It looks really good. I stopped by there yesterday to take a look at it. All we have to do left there is pull some forms and clean up the area in general. Overall, throughout the county, through multiple buildings, multiple rooms, we've approximately spent or used 70 to 80 gallons of paint across the county. Everything that I've seen looks very, very good, so the folks there have stayed very, very busy. We've put a lot of laminate floor down, 1,600 square feet of carpet at West Milford. United High School got all the halls and 5 rooms. We put some in Bridgeport High, West Milford halls and rooms, and a little bit at South Harrison High School. Benches in front of Lincoln Middle School have been repaired. Roof on the pavilion at RCB has been as a new roof. We've got a new roof on the transportation office, as well as a new roof on the South Harrison High School bus terminal. That's been completed. Nutter Fort, we're still up there working, but we got a lot of mulch on the playground. We're trying to fix a wet area in the back. It's a lot of surface water. We're out there right now putting in drains to see if we can get rid of that surface water. It's turning into a little bit more bigger of a job than what we'd anticipated, but we'll definitely get it taken care of. Nutter Fort, we got that playground mulched, the bridge is complete, tree removal, and a lot of cleanup out there. That school's looking pretty good. Trees at Bridgeport Middle School and Salem, we had to remove some of those. We put in drains at West Milford. They worked during the last downpour, and we didn't get water in the building, so thank goodness for that.
That's the first time in a long time, so thank you for that,
Yeah,
for West
and we got new
Milford.
carpet in those rooms, and I would have
Yes.
hated to see water get on the new carpet. We put in 400 feet of drains at Lincoln High School for runoff water. Mountain Air Elementary School, I already talked about the drains in the back swampy area. We've done about 70 work orders over the summer. Our work orders kind of take a back seat to our projects during the summer because we have to get those done when the kids aren't in there. But we'll get back up on that as soon as we start school back up. We're working on the fire marshal report. We've got electricians that are taking the lead. We had 158 items across 20 schools that we were cited for. Many of those citations were for what I call behavioral things like storage in front of an electrical panel, or storage in a stairwell, or a door being propped open, or a power strip or an extension cord being run. People know not to do that, but we just got to keep hammering them until they understand they can't do that anymore. And probably more than half of those citations will go away. And of course, we completed the BRIM plan of corrective action. And again, there's a lot of behavioral type citations that we just got to do it. No storage above closer to 18 inches from the ceiling, electrical panels, doors propped, a lot of things like that. We just got to get our people to pay attention to what they're doing.
We do have a lot of training coming up next week. I think the schools have schedules.
With transportation, we have
5 days worth.
5 days of CE coming up. Of course, a couple of those days are already full. We've got CPR training, first aid training. That'll take up a whole day. My goal is to keep these people busy for about 4 hours and 45 minutes, and for break and lunch, that'll include their 6-hour day. So we have that going on, and we're facing a bit of a dilemma. I told you at the last board meeting, we're going to run short on drivers. There's just no way around that. I had another driver resign today. This late in the day, I had another sub driver that said he's most likely not going to drive for us this year, and those drivers are driving full-time routes. So we're going to take a hard look at it and see if there's anything that we can tweak that doesn't require a transfer letter, which we'll have to address at the beginning of next year. But it's definitely going to be a challenge with having drivers for these buses. And it's not unique to Harrison County. There's other counties that are struggling as well. I mean, the one girl that resigned today, she took a job, she's going to be making about $30,000 more a year than what she was driving the bus. What are you going to say?
It's hard to compete with that. So, thank you, Mr. Cossey. That's all I have for superintendent's update. we can move on to the state superintendent approved items, and the only thing we had this time was some personnel items, and we did do an addendum. And you'll see that on there. So they've already been approved.
All right. Brings us down to consent items. Is there a motion to approve consent items?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. I had someone contact me regarding our minutes, of all things. And I think that it was just an honest error, but in light of crossing Ts, dotting Is, and collaborating with the State Department, I think we need to address it. And I understand, I've done numerous agendas. I'm still doing agenda for another organization. And I understand you have boilerplate and you keep going. But there was one meeting where Caitlin Ash was listed as present, and she was not. And then there were 5 for Mrs. Stutler, where she was erroneously listed as present, and she was not. And of course, I didn't just believe that person. I went back and watched the videos, and they were absent. I don't know if there were any other dates, but those are the ones that somebody
You
noticed.
could give me those dates
Yes.
and I'll,
For Mrs. Ash, it's April 7th, 26.
okay?
And for you, both meetings on December 16th, there was a special and a regular.
Like a 5:30 and a,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then the regular.
yeah,
And then January 6th,
yeah.
regular meeting, and then February 17th, we had a special and a regular.
Yeah.
I think that was finance, maybe.
Okay. We'll
But
check.
I think it was just an honest mistake, but
That's fine.
since we're kind of under a microscope, I thought maybe we should just get that all straightened out.
All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. New business, out-of-state travel study request. Is there a motion to approve the out-of-state travel study request?
I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Let me run back up to consent items for the
Oh, yeah.
open enrollment transfers and approvals and denials. At this moment in time, there will be a transfer hold, and we have one student that's will be held from going to BMS for 6th grade until the numbers can come back. So I forgot to mention that earlier, my apologies. All right, brings us down to our PERC contract with Mrs. Hotzenpiller. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. After-hours contract renewal.
I need to recuse myself.
All right. Is there a motion to approve the after-hours contract renewals with the noted recusal of Ms. Smith?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have an MOU between Harrison County Schools and the Summit Center. You have that in front of you for at-risk services. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. No old business, no policy updates. Maybe we can move to personnel, property matters, if there's no objection by any of the board members. Move to property matters before we finish out with personnel. Is there any objection to that?
No.
Okay. So we have property matters in front of us.
I move pursuant to 69849 of the West Virginia Code that the board go into executive session to consider matters involving or affecting the purchase, sale, or lease of property, advanced construction planning, the investment of public funds, or other matters involving commercial competition, which, if made public, might adversely affect the financial or other interest of the Harrison County Board of Education.
Property motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Second has been done. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll be in executive session.
Would you like
A motion to return from executive session?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Brings us down to property matters. We'll go ahead and take that up. In front of you, you have a motion to proceed to hire Kaufman Realty and Auctions to auction off the Hite Field property. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Personnel matters. You have in front of you your personnel agenda and a personnel addendum to review. And I would also like to note that we are removing John Snyder from personnel agenda sub-bus driver because of certifications. So is there a motion to approve the personnel agenda with the removal of the employee?
I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I noticed we've had several resignations here, so I was going to ask Mrs. Hawk if with,
I would ask the superintendent, direct it to the
Okay.
superintendent.
of these numbers here, have you determined on how many will be replaced, or is there any that's, those positions not going to be filled?
We evaluate every single one, so I think you're creating a list of those that will not be reposted,
Yes.
correct? And do you have a number? We're kind of keeping just a number.
Not off the top of my head, but I do know 2 from the state are on there from a counselor and a psychologist that we no longer need. And we're looking at, I believe right now we've done 4.
We'll have a
Yes,
list
I can
of
get you a-
abolishments, yeah, because as they're coming in, we got a lot of people moving around. And then there's a fairly new rule that employees can be moved at the beginning of the school year, like if it's a, forget the term, unneeded, like if there's no need in that building, they can be moved to another building. So we will probably be using that. So we looked at some of those today, and where that could be possible.
But you can't do
So-
that throughout the year. There's a certain time
You
period at the
can.
beginning.
It's a
Oh,
new-
so throughout the whole
They
year.
changed that in personnel, which we've never been allowed really to do that. There was a few narrow rules in elementary that you could do that, but we never did. But now they've kind of opened that up because of numbers in counties. And when you have a need over here and you've got a teacher that can stay here, and they're allowing us to move them instead of cutting the position. So that's what we were working
We
on
have,
this
yes.
morning, so. And we have a good bill rate so far on the openings that we do have.
Right.
Always special ed jobs, but.
Right.
So is it possible to get a number every other meeting or every meeting as to where
What's being
movements-
abolished?
well, yeah, well, like a running total so that we can have the ticker and then drop down as we go? From-
Absolutely,
Mhm.
yes.
We can do that.
And the ones you're just discussing, that goes towards our 107. That's our goal.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
That includes the 2 today?
Yeah, those are over 200-day contracts
Are
are being abolished,
Yeah.
correct?
Is that in the number tonight, or has it
No.
already been taken off, or are they going to be taken off?
No, those have not been, you're talking about the
Okay.
106, no, they would not have been. And of course, if our enrollment is not, we're watching that when school opens to see.
Looks like we had 13 additions on this last one. Yes? In-county transfer, or transferring in-count, out-of-county to in-county, there were 13.
All right, any further comments, discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, brings us down to board member comments. Mr. Tucker?
Yes, last week I failed to say what I probably have said 95% of the meetings, about making sure that you're either here or watching. And last week, we had 629 people, well, views last week. That could have been 800 people that watched. Hopefully, we have that amount tonight. I doubt it, but hopefully we do, which we should have. Either field here or watching on YouTube. Keep up with what's going on. Said that for 4 years now. I actually took that away from Mr. Devano on the very first night I was here. He said that, and then after that, I've repeated it, so just
Very good.
thank you for that.
Thank you.
Good role model.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Hogan apparently, I think, is gone. Dr. Santilli?
Yes, to all of our employees, just thank you so much for coming back. And I just want you to know, and I think I speak for the whole board, that we have 100% confidence in you that you are going to behave in a professional and caring manner as you always have, and that you will have the students' best interest and your colleagues' best interest in mind as you go through this year. And thank you so much for helping our kids.
All right, thank you. Ms. Smith?
Just want to wish everyone a safe and happy 26-27 school year.
All right, very good. I have no comments. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.